Lovely to have you all here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show, and we are going to get straight into our guests. So let's get the intro going.
Ooh, welcome to the show. Now is your time to shine. We're gonna have a like a chat tonight. Another good time.
No, it's fine. Hey, also, Justn, lovely to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And I see you got your Sunshine Coast tourism.
Yes.
Tourism.
Yeah.
It's tourism, I think, because you go on a tour.
On tour.
Yeah, we were just talking about a tour the other day before we started about you going on a tour to Cape Town.
That's it.
Yeah, no, I mean, Sunshine Coast. You are the epitome of Lower Albany.
We are.
You know,
we Sunshine Coast is the Inkambe coast, the coastline. We'll see it's Inkambe itself, and it's kind of split into two. You got the eastern half, which falls under Port Alfred, and then the western half, which is more Kenton, Bushmans, Borkness, Cannon Rocks, Alex.
Yes.
And I'm the chairman of the Chamber of Business and Tourism for the western side.
Okay.
So we're part of SET.
Towards the Port Alfred side?
No. Kenton, Bushman, towards Alex.
Towards Cape Town. Okay, there we go. So, I was always thinking, where's he? I'm a musician, so my direction's no good. Port and starboard. Port is... Because your port's there's no port left in the bottle. That's why you say ports to the left.
That's it.
So to the western side. So you Cannon Rocks and that side.
Yeah. So I live on the Bushman side. I live at Nature's Landing on the Bushman's River.
All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful place to live.
It is. It's terrible. Been there for 30 years.
Well, the family's been there since 1820.
It has. Yes. We part of the acceptance party. We came out, settled in Salem, Shane. 23rd of July, 1820. Midwinter. Can you imagine arriving in Salem?
Okay, you arrive in PE. The Rufijn Donkin tunes you. Listen, buddy. Yeah, I've got an Ossevaar. I've got an Ossevaar for years. Afrikaans have taken you out now to the middle of nowhere. You land up there in July. So, I mean, I don't even know when the boats landed. But
it was. I think they were on the beach for a bit. They camped there for a bit before they headed off to where they were going to.
It must have been wonderful to camp on the beach.
Lovely in the wind.
Yes, like imagine.
But after a couple of months at sea, it was probably quite welcome.
Yes, it was welcome. I'm sure.
So and the family have been in and around the Salem area. We moved in 1839. We moved to Ellisdale. I don't know if that's up or down.
Ellisdale.
Springvale, Ellisdale.
Salem
sort of,
Road.
It's sort of more PE side.
Okay.
And onto a farm called Springvale.
Okay.
And then Hebron and Hilton, those farms in that area.
Yeah.
And then a very, very brief period up near Craddock, I think 2 years. I probably took them a year to get there. Then they didn't like it and a year to get back.
Don't like it, yeah.
And then my great-grandfather bought a farm, Belton, where the Wilmot still farm on Belton.
Okay.
And my grandfather bought the farms next door. So that's where Kareka Park is now.
Okay, so that's okay. Yeah. All right, Kareka.
So so I was born on that farm. My dad and my grandfather bought the farm in around about 1919, round about there.
1919.
Yeah.
One night just after the Great War.
The Great War.
Yeah. The Great War, because it was only going to be one.
It was.
Yeah.
I hope there are no more than two.
I hope so too. You never know with Elon Musk and Putin and God knows who else with their finger buttons. Button fingers itching to go.
That's why I live in the provinces.
You know,
yes, much better in the provinces.
Yes. And Wilmot. So the Wilmot was it the Wilmot family that came out?
Yes, yeah.
And so literally the name is stuck.
Yes, and there were a lot of boys. I think Joseph had 3 sons, and each son had about 7 or 8 kids. Wow. The majority were boys.
Okay.
So that's why there are a lot of Wilmots, because they're
Yes.
A lot of boys.
Yeah. Baggy those oaks. Quite fertile ground, yeah.
Yes, we were quite fertile. And it's having grown up on Ocean View, which was where part of Korea now, with the Rashmias, they own it. And it was a real privilege. I went to a primary school in Salem.
Okay.
The bus used to come and fetch us from the Holt.
The Holt.
The Holt is at the top of the road.
Oh, you
along
mean
the
like
main
the bus
road.
stop?
Yes, it's called a Holt.
Okay.
And and Uncle Denzel Watson used to come down in his Ford Transit and come and transit, not a transit, it's a
transit.
And
make America great again.
And they used to go and drop us off at Salem Primary School.
Okay.
And I've got an oldest, there 4 kids. My older sister, Di, Michael, myself, and then Joe. All us. We all live in Kenton.
Wow. Okay.
Now,
It's even still.
Yeah, we still live there.
Die appelval die ver van die boom af nie.
Yes. And we went to Salem Primary, and I was there for 2 years. And I'll tell you an interesting fact about Salem Primary School. 7 South African schools cricketers came out of Salem Primary School.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Gee,
Don't ask me to
7?
name 7.
Good Lord.
It was unbelievable. And Uncle Bushy Emsley actually was the coach.
Okay.
Yes.
Is that so
the AMs and the Fords and all of those guys. But there were 7 South African schools, cricket players out of Salem Primary School.
Yeah.
With only a handful of kids. No, it is. It is.
But you say that the Salem Cricket Club as well is one of the oldest in the country.
It is. The first recorded game, I was actually chatting to Sheila Long the other day.
Yes.
It was the 180th anniversary of the Salem Cricket Club.
Wow.
And my 2 boys play for Salem.
Okay.
And
so it's still going strong.
Yeah, it's still going strong.
Fantastic.
And still a lot of the settler families play, which is incredible.
Don't you talk about like the AMs,
and the Kings, and the
Gushes,
well, none of it. Yeah, no, but it was. There's still AMs and the Salem Club. It's very the settler clans.
Yes,
so there's certain clans, and we belong to the Salem clan.
That's
probably the best way to say.
Yes.
So the first recorded game, was on the 23rd of July, 1844.
Wow.
It was the 25th anniversary.
Okay. Of the landing.
Of the landing in Salem.
All right.
And they had divine, I can't remember the words now, but they went to church for divine something or other.
Intervention.
Yes. And then had a meal. And in fact, it was such a beautiful day that the Union Jack was barely fluttering in the wind.
Really?
Yeah, in front of the church.
Good for the swing bowling,
And and the first recorded match, the oldest cricket club I think is the PE Cricket Club.
Okay. Who did they play? Did they just play 18B team?
Well, it must have been.
There's farmers and there's farmers.
Yes.
There's Deal Party versus the Silent Party.
No, it would have just it would have been
a mix.
A mix.
Fantastic. I mean, if you think about it, it took 25 years for them to do that.
Well, it was a celebration.
You would have had to build the pitch and everything, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it's, from what I understand, it's still in the same area.
Okay.
Yeah, so the same. I doubt it's the same pitch.
Yeah,
it would have been all over the place.
Yeah.
I'm not a cricketer. I definitely missed a couple of generations.
You're not into that.
No, my sons are they enjoy their cricket.
And let's just talk about the now at the moment.
Yes.
So also what we've got to do, we've got to give the Kenton Wine Festival.
Yes, absolutely.
Gordon, we got some. Let's have a quick look at the comments there. Greetings from Cape Town.
Oh, Michael, that's my mate Mike. Hello, Michael.
How's it, Michael? Nice to see you online as well. And Tanya Fouchier, Tanya's at.
She's going to be
Zia.
She's going to be at the wine festival as well.
Oh, excellent! Yeah. Yes, at the trattoria. They'll make it the trattoria. We'll come have some wine with you, Tanya. The Karoo Wine Club.
That's Rose Gordon. Yeah.
Watching you, Justn and Ginos Spot. Excellent. Thank you. Rose, of course, organising not only the Kenton Wine Festival,
and
but the Stoop tasting out at Graafrenet and New Bethesda, which is phenomenal.
Rose grew up in Kenton. She was a farmer's daughter from Kenton. That's where I know. Yeah.
So tough oaks. Tough oaks, yeah. And Kama, Jakala says there, how's it, Justn? Was with your son at Casey I see Kingswood College.
Yeah.
I see he's doing well in his cricket, and hopefully bump into you at the CR cricket.
Yeah.
The cricket.
Oh, the Pineapple Cricket Tournament.
Pineapple Cricket Tournament.
Tournament starts
The
soon.
tournament.
No, it's a big thing down
Yeah,
in
where
the
is it go? You got it's was it Port Alfred, Bathurst?
Port Alfred.
Port Alfred. Okay.
Tournament is big.
Telford.
It's like a season.
Is it?
Yeah, fishing season, cricket tournament. Tournament is
Proper tournament.
You've got to come down to tournament. You know.
I think I must.
There's a big tent there.
I think I must.
Lots happens there at night.
No, well then I must at least come and experience
Just
it.
one night.
I think I must do that. I think Grandma will be there to checking it out.
Oh, that's my cousin
Nina
from New Zealand.
Oh, McDonough.
That's Rory McDonough's ex. Yeah, Rory.
Okay.
Nina McDonough.
Oh, I see. It was a kiri. And Justn, you're 5 a.m. She's up at 5 a.m. Good Lord, Nina. Yes, she has. She would be because she's in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it happened up on my YouTube. You need to get to sleep, Nina. Classic Albany, absolutely. Brian Wilkinson says, any relation to the great EP Crypto Laurie?
Well, all part of the same clan. Yeah.
The Wilmot clan is all of those Wilmot buggers.
His grandson Campbell actually plays for Salem.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay, Brian. Oh, brilliant. Okay. And Russell Lovemore, how's it?
Yeah, Russell.
He's just a celeb now. Absolutely. You know, we don't get just anybody on this show, Russell. We have to get the top. We get taking the cream off the top. Here we go. Sandy Bernard saying, Justn, you
were
beauty.
at school. Hello, Sandy.
At school?
No.
At Salem Primary?
No, at Kingswood.
Oh, Kingswood. So you were at Kingswood College?
Yes, I'm a Kingswood boy. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Grahamstown.
So I went from Salem. I went when the bus stopped. I had to go to Kenton School. At the halt. I think the government must have stopped the funding. And then, so I was forced to go to Kenton Primary.
Okay.
Sort of halfway in between.
Yeah.
My brother went off to Kingswood 1974, I think. Right. And I was forced to go to Kenton because there was a bus coming up from Kenton to the farm.
Okay.
So back onto the bus.
Yeah.
And it was a real learning curve for me because it was a dual medium school. I'd never spoken Afrikaans before. Standard 1, and I had to catch up. But I had some wonderful, wonderful memories of Kenton.
Bushmans. Is it Bushmans?
In Kenton.
Afrikaans. Where did the Afrikaners come from?
It was tweetalig. It was completely tweetalig. And a couple of memories. We used to wear khaki with a green tie, bottle green tie, and bottle green socks.
Isn't that perfect?
Adrian Purden was at
yes.
He was at
Ross and Adrian
from Kenton. Adrian.
Okay.
He played EP wing.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Purds and I were at Kenton Primary together. Okay. He was a few years behind me.
Oh, somebody tag the Purdens, please. They're also bloody hell, they're all over the place. Yeah. I see David Rogerson there as well.
Yes.
He says you're a natural.
Hello, David.
Hello, David. Nice horse, David. Is that the one that looks like
Derek Bronze?
Derek Bronze as well.
He's now recently retired.
That's Kathy's husband. Yes,
yeah.
I know Derek. Yes, absolutely. He's always get roped in with Kathy as well. Yeah, there's no sitting still with her. Okay.
And then, I was there. And then, of course, moved off to Kingswood.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there from Standard 5 to Matric.
Okay.
You'd never say, but
Border.
Yes.
Right.
Woodhouse. Proudly Woodhouse.
Woodhouse,
yeah. And you'd never say, but I was a sprinter.
Oh, wow.
You look so surprised. and better still, I played first team wing for 2 years.
Wow.
No, you'd never say. Now, my mates, you always joke with me and say that I didn't know who my outside centre was because I ate him. That's not very nice.
That's the way it goes with your schoolmates. I'm afraid you're going to have a thick skin. Okay, so Kingswood from there as well, and then from Kingswood I
went to UPE. Okay. Yeah, and loved my time there. Loved it so much. I was RAG chairman for 2 years.
Yeah.
I was the first double 2 years in a row. So I was on the SRC.
You say Garth Wright was also with you?
Yeah, Garth was on the SRC with me as well.
And Sid.
Sid was at school with me. He was at Kingswood with Rob Archibald.
Oh, right.
Sid was my age. Yeah, Robert was a year behind.
These guys all been on the show.
Yeah.
Please tag Rob Archibald and Sid Meyer.
Sid Meyer,
yeah, he's an absolute legend. And I see there, Sandy says that our school still stands on
the hilltop.
On the whole top.
No, that's the Kenton Primary School. Our school stands on the hilltop above the sounding sea. It was the Kenton school song.
Wow. Yeah. Isn't it lovely?
And then after, I really enjoyed my time at UPE. As RAG chairman, organised all the parties on campus. That was kind of my thing.
Yeah.
Traveled to every campus in South Africa.
Yeah.
Met a lot of great friends. Mike Joubert was actually Tuck's rock boss. He came up. He was Tuck's RAG chairman, and he went on to become national RAG chairman. Okay. So we've been friends a long time.
Brilliant. It's just any form of network that you can make in your life is worthwhile.
And great people.
Yeah.
It's all, the world revolves around good people.
Absolutely.
Surround yourself with good people.
Yeah. I think that is it's very good advice.
Yeah.
Find your network, because
find your tribe. It's all about being the tribe. Find your tribe.
Isn't that it's the fact that the Salem 1820, they were the ones that really did the best because they stuck together.
Yes, they did.
That's the whole thing, is to stick together as a community.
And you really feel that when there's a disaster or a catastrophe or somebody dies, and the whole community comes together.
Yeah.
And they come and support you, and you feel that. And so living in a small community has always been my thing. Yeah. My parents were very community orientated. From UPE, I was in 1988. 89. No, sorry, December 87.
87. Right. Okay. Yeah.
The first job that I had, my dad was one of the developers of the marina in Port Alfred.
Oh, wow.
And we actually built the marina.
Okay.
My dad and our construction
company. Okay, he had his construction company.
Yeah.
As well.
So we were civil engineering, and I still do that.
Okay.
My dad was self-taught, and then he taught me. Because I did a BCom,
Okay, yes.
He said, you don't have to read or write as long as you can count.
This is true. Your accounts, your money is important.
Yeah, so moved back in 87, and we started the Marina project 87. We finished it in 1990.
Okay.
A huge project. At the time, it was about a 25 million rand project in 1989. It was a lot of money.
Yeah. Was that when it was actually built in 88,
89? Yes. And the first properties, I think, transferred in 1990.
Yeah.
So that was a huge learning curve for me because, and we went from my dad always did well in construction.
Okay.
The epitome of an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
An entrepreneur at heart. And that's why I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And the one thing is we've got to learn in this world we live in to look after ourselves.
Yeah.
There are no magic wands. There's no bottomless pit of money.
Yeah.
So in Kenton and in Bushman's, especially in Kenton, they've raised a lot of money from the ratepayers, and we're fixing our own roads.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
And it's
you can't rely on the
so I'm contracted to the Ratepayers Association to fix the roads.
Okay.
So it's there is no one's going to come and do it for us.
Yeah.
We got to do it ourselves.
That rates and taxes, that money just goes somewhere.
And we work with the municipality because we need to.
Yes, of course.
Yeah. So anyway,
incredible. Like you're saying, entrepreneurial as well. I mean, you when it's Wilmots, I think of Beaver's Pies.
Yes, absolutely.
Beaver's Pies and
Dulce ice cream.
And Dulce ice cream.
So I'll tell you, my dad was quite impulsive.
Okay.
He decided he got itchy feet after 1990. We'd finished the marina.
Yeah.
And he was looking for a business. Yeah. And he came to PE to see his friend Roger Longworth, who was a estate agent. Yeah. And he came home and he said, we're buying a pineapple farm.
Pineapples.
Where, Dad? He said, in Bathurst.
Bathurst, of course.
So we met at I think at one of the hotels here in P. It could have been the Elizabeth.
Okay, yes.
And we went for coffee. And but my dad didn't like the deal, so that fell. Okay. Anyway, then my dad, he came back to P, and Roger said, "I've got a deal for you." What? I go, oh, what is it, Dad? He says, there's a truck stop. You know, the truck stop outside of PE, the Ello's truck stop.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to buy a truck stop. I said, and now? He said, no, you're going to go and run it. I said, oh, what? Dad. Jeez. Anyway, that fell through.
Okay, thank God for that.
I just had visions of, having to, anyway.
Yeah.
And then he went to PE. My mom hated when he went away with the boys because he'd always come back with something.
Right.
Yeah. And he went on his own. Yes.
You were talking about these trips that you just make a trip.
Yeah, I mean, we were looking for some ideas for beavers, and we decided we wanted to go and have a look at Knysna.
Okay.
So we took off. I think there were 4 of us. It was my dad, my nephew Alan, my brother, and myself. Yeah. We drove to Knysna, chatted all the way, had breakfast, and drove home. Dad says he liked nothing nicer than a road trip. Bit of a tour.
Go on a tour. That's so funny, man. So just take a bit of family time as well, you know.
And
all of you.
Well, the 4 of us, yeah.
That's cool.
And then Dad came back from a trip in PE, and he said,
Dad is Keith.
Keith
Wilmot.
Okay. Yeah. And he said, I bought an ice cream business. And of course, now this is like we've had a couple of false starts. So, yeah. And then he came back and said, I bought a pie business as well.
Jeez, like.
And then he went overseas. 1st of September 1992. Yeah. We took over the pie business and the ice cream factory at the same time. So I moved
the ice cream factory?
In PE, 310 Cape Road.
310 Cape Road.
Near Savoy Motors with the BP garage across the road. Yes. Next to that, it's a casino now, I think.
Okay, yes, yeah. I think I do know. Yes, Palazzo or something. No.
There's a Pick and Pay behind it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Anyway, so I was packed off to PE, and he said, "You're going to go and learn to make ice cream." So I said, "Okay, well that's cool."
Dulce ice cream.
And I came here.
Jeez, like.
I moved into a flat. My folks had a flat here, and it was owned by a guy by the name of Hubert Stempowski.
Stempowski.
From PE. I've heard that name. And Hubert started Dulce.
Okay.
And there were 3 stores. There was Ring Street.
Yes.
There was Summer Strand.
Okay.
And Cape Road. There were 3 stores.
Whereabouts in Cape Road?
Sorry, Ring Street. Well, at 310 Cape Road. There was a factory in the back and a shop in the front. Okay. And we bought the franchise.
Yeah.
And I started to make ice cream, and I spent 10 years making ice cream.
Gee, that was good ice cream.
It was good ice cream. And I went across to CGEP in Italy, I think in '94, which is an ice cream and confectionery trade fair in Italy.
Wow. Okay.
And blew my mind, really did. And I went to learn and just go and have a look.
Yeah.
And the thing about any artisanal kind of thing is you've got to start with the good stuff. You've got to start with the right ingredients.
Yeah.
So that ice cream was made from scratch. It was made with full cream milk.
You had the cows?
When it was in PE, we used to buy in the milk, obviously.
Okay.
And cream. We used to add fresh cream. Yeah. And then like in the chocolate, we used to add imported cocos and Cadbury's chocolates. There were no.
It was good. The
fudge ice cream.
The
fudge. We used to buy. I was the biggest buyer of condensed milk. I think in the Eastern Cape, we'd get like 100 cases, and we'd boil it up in a 44-gallon drum.
Yes.
Very high tech.
Yeah.
They used to pack inside a drum and put and basa underneath. Light a fire and gas. Yeah. And old Willie, he knew exactly when that caramel was ready.
Wow.
And he'd switch it off, and then the next day we'd open each can, and that caramel would be pushed to just the right, just before it gets so it was dark.
Okay, dark caramel.
Anyway, so
and into that ice cream.
And we expanded.
Hungry already.
We expanded that business. We took in partners, Lee Caldecott and Mike Pullen.
Okay.
And then Ray Bevradu, and we expanded the business nationally.
Okay.
And
so it was a national franchise.
No, there were only 3 stores.
3 stores.
And then when we sold it 8 years later, I think there were 40 or 42 stores nationally.
Wow. So you actually did go national as well.
Yeah, we did. And we had lots of fun. Baie benoude oomblikke.
I'm sure.
Because there are only 2 ways to build a franchise.
Yeah.
The one is organically. In other words, you really struggle.
Yes. Suckle.
You've got to finance every bit of it.
Oh, yeah.
Or else nationally they just throw money at it.
Okay.
So we did the good Lower Albany version.
Yes. Bro,
and we suckled. We grew organically. Organically just means suckle.
Yes, yes. But so in that terms that you're talking about, because scaling up a company is something else. It's like, you're saying organic, so you start with the 3 shops. You're supplying them from this factory.
Yeah.
Every day you take it across ice cream, you're making it in the nighttime, in the daytime, or all day.
Well, during the day, in summer, it's very seasonal. But in December, at our peak, we were running 24 hours around the clock. But I moved the factory to Bushman's because I wanted to live at Kenton.
Yes,
so
okay.
I was only EP for 2 years and then moved the factory there.
Okay.
The biggest thing with any is to be able to replicate, to take a successful business and replicate it.
Yes.
100 times, 40 times, 50 times. Replicate the look, the feel.
Yes.
Replicate the menu. Replicate
Who did that look and feel of the Daltosies? Did it have a look and feel?
Alicia Caldecott.
Okay.
Alicia and Lee, they were very instrumental in getting the look and the feel. They were franchisees and then ended up coming to work for head office.
Wow.
Head
office.
We had a head office in Cape Road. But,
wow.
At a head office, with an accountant and everything.
A quick look at some of these things coming in here. I see, let's have a look there. Linda van der Westhuizen all the way from Queenstown. But how's it going in Komani? And Sean Sullivan, how's it, Sean? I don't know. Is it Brendan Pierce as well? I don't know. Brendan Kelly saying, how's it? Karoo Wanta, lekker boys. Now the lekker old stories are coming through strong. Absolutely. And I see there Penny Mason.
Yeah, Pen's from Joburg. You've got a house in Kenton, friends of ours.
Oh, marvelous. And Kenton's just exploded.
It has.
Incredible the amount of houses and stuff that are going on.
It's a yes, Brendan.
Compulsory shop. Beaver's Pie, absolutely.
So that brings us into the whole Beavers thing.
Beavers. So let's just finish on the ice cream side. Yeah. So you're organically building this ice cream business now, and then all over the country. So that
I mean it for me, I've concentrated on the ice cream side and manufacturing.
Did you then send it up to where?
Trucks. We used to truck it ourselves.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And in fact, I used to do the first trip to a new store.
Okay.
But stupidly, you drive there, drop it off, and turn around and drive home. Yeah. That kind of thing. Old Toyota Hilux 2.4, with a box in the back, towing a trailer equally heavy, cycling up hills in third gear. It was a wonderful time, learned a lot.
Yes, I'm sure.
A difficult time, but very proud of what we did.
Yeah.
And that we could replicate it. I mean, we had a great team, who eventually bought us out. Mike Bullen.
So they eventually bought
they bought us out. I carried on making ice cream, and then eventually I sold my factory to Bushy Park.
Oh.
And they made ice cream for a couple of years.
Okay, I wonder where that equipment's gone now.
Puffer Hartzenberg, actually, his sister...
Not Hart's ice cream.
No.
Yeah, because there's nothing else.
Puffer's an old schoolmate of mine. Yeah. He was running the Bushy Park dairy, so they took over.
They closed down now.
Yeah, they have. I think they might be farming again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeez. So and
then Beavers, obviously.
Beavers. Okay, so 1992, there was a little pie shop. That pie shop started. Let me get this right. I'll think of the name of the people, and they were looking for a takeaway, and they thought burgers were very messy, so they thought they'd make pies.
Yeah.
It was a motor car dealership.
Okay.
And they
Where is
started
this, in
this
Port
in
Alfred?
Port Alfred. They
Port
started
Alfred.
with this little takeaway,
Yeah.
and they started making pies. And as the story goes, they were looking for a name, and the sister said to the brother, "Well, we're working like little beavers, because they're working so hard." And that's where the name Beavers
I'm glad
came
to hear
from.
it came from that and not
Yes,
nothing else.
definitely, yes,
you know.
yeah. Not in those days.
No, it wasn't. Beaver had a different meaning back then.
It meant real pies.
Yes, I'm sure. We're going to get into like a cuck. But no, and was
then-
always in the same spot there.
Yes, and then
Okay.
he sold it to a guy by the name of Danny, and Danny registered the Beavers trademark.
Ah,
And then Danny sold it then to another family, and he wouldn't sell the trademark.
okay.
Shane, I can't think of Shane. I'll think of the name.
Yeah.
Anyway, so they call them Treat Eat Pies, and they franchised
Treat,
Treat Eat Pies.
Ah,
And then we bought the Port Alfred store,
yeah.
and Dad went to Danny and said, "Listen, I want to buy the trademarks."
Okay.
So to this day, my brother and I still own the Beavers trademark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it's
Such a famous thing,
it is.
especially on here.
it was my dad's passion.
Yeah.
Okay, so and of course it went. The reason why it turned 24 hours is because it was a Saturday evening, and Glenn Tree, who was one of our construction foremen, was doing the late shift, and there were two cash boxes, a blue one and a red one, and the red one had the change in it, the blue one had all the notes in it.
Yeah.
And as Glenn went to go and switch the alarm on, a guy came around the corner with a gun, and he said. So he said to his daughter, "Give him the red box." And of course, they made off with all the coins. And my dad said after that, he said, "We're never going to close again."
Okay.
And we were probably one of the first 24-hour stores.
Yeah.
And it was always convenient.
That place there next to the filling station, you pull in there late at night, and had the machine outside that said, "This machine doesn't give change." And we always used to go in, "Does this machine give change?" It's hilarious.
And so, and at one stage, there were actually 7 or 8 beavers all over the country. My dad was,
wow.
But,
I'm sure when the internet came in, everybody was searching for beavers on the internet.
I registered and I own the domain beavers.co.za, and I had to explain to my father. I had to really explain to him what a domain was first, and why I had to also register pieman.co.za.
Okay.
I had to explain to him why I had to also register the second domain, and he still didn't understand it. Anyway, we still.
Oh God! Pieman is.
So we still use Pieman. I still own Beavers. It's there. Beavers.co.za.
Yeah, I tell you what, a lot of hits every day.
So the pies went well. The most pies we ever sold in a day were around 3,000.
Wow.
And we were really busy, especially after Oxborough.
Yeah.
And I tell you,
somebody's mentioned Oxborough. Pies after Oxborough. There we go. Ross says that's exactly what you just said.
Hello, Ross.
Ross Riddle. Because I'm sure Bathurst was the thing.
The things that I've seen.
I'm sure.
It's.
Tell us some stories, because late at night there must be ridiculous stuff happening.
Well, there was a dare once. We had cameras all over the place eventually.
Okay.
And eventually when we pieced the whole thing together, 2 couples arrived out of their minds.
Yeah.
And the 2 girls stayed at the door.
Yeah.
The 2 guys dropped everything. And they walked up, and they weren't allowed to cover themselves. And they had to lean across the pie counter warmer and ask for a sausage roll.
That was the day.
And we had cameras all over the place, and the poor lady working behind the pie counter. Can you imagine? She bent down to go grab the sausage roll, and she was met with an eyebrow.
Let me get that sausage roll. Oh my God.
Anyway, they then had to go in. There was a condom dispenser around the corner.
Yes.
We used to dispense the most condoms in Eastern Cape.
Really?
We used to get them by the caseloads, free condoms.
These acts will sell anything in Albany, honestly.
No, they were given away for free.
Oh, right.
It was part of the.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
And then they then had to turn around and have to go and pay for the pie and walk out. It was, yeah. And then there was the guy that tried to bring his bakkie into the shop, and he knocked the 2 front doors off.
No.
Actually, we never missed them
because we were open.
Because we were open 24 hours a day. Eventually, when we did the shop, we revamped the whole shop. We put new doors in, and it was quite sad because after my dad died in 2014, he was the heart and soul of the place. Yeah. And so in 2017, I think I eventually closed the business.
Okay.
And I couldn't find the keys. There were no keys.
No doors.
I knew no doors, no alarm. I locked the place, put a chain around it, and climbed out through the window.
Oh, my word. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, so I mean, the reason for Beavers, because Beavers was so busy.
Yeah.
I remember coming into that parking lot. Doesn't matter what time of day or night, that place was packed. Used to have those big muffins.
Yeah.
Fantastic muffins.
Yeah.
Justn made those.
That was at Route 72 next door.
Yeah, okay.
Now that was, so we owned a little coffee shop next door called Route 72.
Oh, I see.
You used to go in there and help yourself
to coffee. No, but that was later.
Oh, that was later.
About earlier.
Oh,
used to make these big muffins like this. And
probably the Dulce recipe.
Yeah, maybe.
In the big pan.
It was, what's the one with the little
sesame
little seeds?
Yes.
Like a
poppy seed.
A lemon poppy
seed. Yeah.
Lemon poppy seed.
Oof.
Man, that was fantastic.
I don't look like this for nothing.
Don't you still make those somewhere?
No,
There you go.
no. Yeah. And then the
bakery there. You have a bakery at the back.
Yes, we had a bakery in the back. Yeah.
Okay.
I built a pizza oven, but it couldn't be a normal. I actually I decided I wanted to bake bread.
Yeah.
Make real bread.
Proper bread.
So I built an oven.
Okay.
But it just couldn't be any oven because I was thinking ahead,
Oh, it was behind the
Yes. No, right at the back. It was like
back.
a big pizza oven. It was
proper. It was like round.
But it was 3 meters long and 1.2 meters high and needed 6 bags of wood just to get mildly warm inside.
The civil engineer in you, building a huge...
Anyway, we made homemade bread for a while and we made focaccias and all sorts of things. But it was quite heavy on the pocket because we had to heat that thing.
Yeah, okay. Keep it hot. A lot of wood.
Anyway, so the whole Beavers era sort of ended. I've still got all the equipment. Okay. I've still got all the recipes. They're sitting in my store. And every time I walk in.
The secret of the Beavers, come on, give us a little bit of a clue here because those pies were amazing.
Well, it's the meat and the gravies and the flavor.
Yeah.
So it was about building flavor, about, in the pepper, for example, using different kinds of pepper because different peppers give you, some you can taste up front, some sort of give you a residual afterburn. So it was actually, black pepper, for example, you'll smell. White pepper, you'll sort of taste, and red pepper, it'll hit you afterwards. So, getting all of that right in the lamb, getting all the, all the flavors to mix, nicely. We actually we had our own abattoir for 10 years. We used to slaughter our own cattle into pies.
Where was that also?
In Bushman's.
In Bushman's as well. Okay. Gee, was that?
So, I know all about slaughtering cattle too.
I mean, that's 2 brands that you guys built from scratch, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, you bought those companies when they're still small.
Yeah.
And made them into household names here in the Eastern Cape,
It was my dad's passion.
Yeah.
And passion is so important.
Yeah.
You've got to be passionate about what you do.
Yeah.
And at the moment, for me, I'm just passionate about tourism. I'm passionate about Kenton and Bushman's.
So you're solidly involved in the tourism.
Yeah, I mean, I've still got a real job.
Yeah. You still in construction?
Yeah, civil engineering,
Okay, so roads.
Civils, And I think it's so important to give back. So I was a tabler for 17 years. And then I've been a Rotarian for 16 years.
Yes, when you get a little older and more conservative, then you become a Rotarian.
Well,
the table is all about drinking.
Well,
you never lose that.
Yes, our Rotary Club was started by a lot of 41ers.
Okay.
Just to give you an idea.
41ers are
being the past tablers. Yeah.
Yes.
So we have a lot of fun. We I think the second biggest club in our region, which includes Natal, all the way across the Potchefstroom and down.
Okay.
So we are very, very strong. We've got 40-something members in Kenton.
Wow.
Yeah, and we're very vibrant.
Where does Ernie used to be in Grahamstown, I think?
Yes, Ernie Rothman.
Yes. Ernie was the man.
Yeah. No, and I think so. My dad was passionate about Kenton and people, and he's passed that on to us. Mm. And let me just tell you, behind every man like that, there's a woman.
Oh yeah.
And my mom was unbelievable. She was.
You're not still alive.
No. And
what was her name?
Olive.
Yeah.
Olive.
Keith.
Yes, Olive and Keith.
Okay.
And mom was born in Grahamstown. They were married for 58 years.
Wow.
And a great example to all of us. Not always smooth sailing.
Yes, I'm sure.
And my wife,
yes.
our long-suffering wife of 30 years this year.
Your wife's
Bridget.
Bridget. Okay, it's Bridget.
So she tells me, yes, you have, She tells me I'm behaving more and more like my dad every day.
Isn't that always the case?
And my aunt, my dad's sister, says, "Oh, you look just like your father."
Yes, of course.
And I'm the way I walk, I think the way all the little mannerisms, I see them, and I just pretend not to look.
Yeah.
Even the way I sit in the van and pull my cap on. And Bridget says, "Straighten your hat. Sit up straight."
That's just the way it is. You see yourself in your folks, like I always find it isn't a relief or a something to make you feel a little bit better is about death in the family. The death of your folks is a big thing.
It is.
And just to know that they're right inside you, your genes are right there.
Well, I keep saying to my sons, I've got 2 sons and a daughter, and they always, ripping me off. I say, "You see this is what you got to look forward to."
Absolutely.
And for the record, I looked a lot better at your age than you do.
You're heading one way, baby. Oh, that's hilarious. I see Brenda Clare there is watching. How's it, Brenda? Nice to see you there online too. And
hello, Brenda.
There we go.
Yeah.
And who's that? Rock Boss and Rag Chair GPE. We were just talking about that. And he was at Tux.
He was at Tux.
Yeah.
He went on to become SOC president at Tux as well.
Word.
Yeah, Michael, old friend of mine.
Yeah, no, in those days you had to be involved in the Broederbond, Michael, to get into those things. Oh my word.
No, and I think so it's been an interesting journey.
Yeah.
I'm very, very blessed to have my family in Kenton.
Yes.
So all 4 of us live in Kenton.
Lovely.
And it's I've got a lot of extended family and cousins. And of course, my wife comes from Kenton.
Yes, as well.
I've got no one to visit.
What was her surname before?
She was a Muirhead.
A Muirhead.
And it was so much fun when we could go and visit my sister-in-law up in Natal until she moved here.
Okay.
Now we got no one to visit. We got no one to visit anymore.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So it's been a really great journey, and of course the wine festival.
Yes,
I went up to the Stoepfeest during COVID, or just after. I think in 2020, just before COVID.
Okay.
A group of friends, we went up there, and I really liked this idea. And I booked accommodation through a lady called Rose. She found me a house.
Rose, yes.
And yes, Rose Wright. And they were used to come on holiday in Kenton.
Okay.
Anyway, and we had a meeting at Pizzarella, and Louis Hutting and myself and Rose
Louis.
and Gordon,
ex-GM.
ex-GM.
Yeah.
And then that's how the whole thing started in Kenton. And it's
so
really
you got and you decided, hey, come on, bring it to Kenton as well.
Yeah, we always looking for something in the off season. We're really busy. We're really busy over season. And we've just had a bumper super Christmas. There's a lot to do. There's a lot of entertainment.
Old years and that side, that is always hectic.
And so we're always looking to introduce other things during the year. And the one thing, of course, is the wine festival. And of course, this year you guys are coming.
We're going to be there. We're going to be
on
there
the Thursday night.
80s show.
The 20th of March.
20th of March, we'll be there doing it.
And it's a Thursday night. Friday is a public holiday. That's why we're doing it on the Thursday night. So you can come, you can taste the wine during the day, straight up to the backyard. And we're going to party hard.
Straight
it's going
to
be
the backyard and into the party there.
And it's going to be an incredible show. We've sold quite a few tickets already.
Fantastic.
And,
there we go. 20th and 21st of March. We just did a bit of a warm up at the Wine on Water at St. Francis. And let me tell you, it rocked.
Yeah.
80s is the right thing. This is the right thing. Tickets available where?
On Quicket.
Quicket. Okay.
Yeah, just search Kenton on Sea.
Tickets available on Quicket.
And so what we're doing this year, you can get all the tickets, including the wine tasting tickets.
Lovely.
On one site, and then all the fringe events you can book as well. And we've got anything from riding up the Bushmans on a safari, a boat safari. And I'll tell you something about the Bushmans River.
Yeah.
It's the second longest tidal river in Southern Africa, second to the Breda River.
Okay.
What makes us really unique is that above the Gaio Bridge, which is about 17 kilometers from the mouth up.
Yeah, 17 k's. That's a long way up.
You get the Gaio Bridge, and then above that is Koreka Game Reserve.
Okay.
They've dropped the fences.
Oh.
And they've got game on both sides, and you can actually go on your boat. We went up on Sunday afternoon. We saw Ellies, we saw giraffe. And then lots of nyala. And
we're going to come there with you. We're booking our trip in the boat. Is it your boat?
Well, I'm taking one of the boats. There are 5 boats, Bushman's Bandit boats. We're going up the Bushman's. So you go in the morning, spend about 2.5 hours, hopefully finding some game.
Yes.
And then heading back down, and then go and have some wine, taste some wine. Have lunch.
Yes, what a pleasure.
And then head on to go and taste some real wine.
Oh, we'll be there.
There are 3 tasting days, which are the Thursday, the Friday, and the Saturday. So it's 20th to the 22nd.
22nd.
Yeah.
22nd as well. Excellent.
And so there are lots. It's Pinatar's 100th birthday this year.
Oh, because that was a South African.
Yes, it's a South African thing. And Excellent. They are actually coming to the wine festival.
Oh, brilliant! Okay.
Bayers Trutter, I think he's one of the big boys. He's coming.
Okay.
And you've got Porton cigars. You can. There's nougat and bubbly or bronze and bubbly. You can choose Tanya's Trattoria.
Yes,
pasta. She's also doing a wine pairing.
Nice.
So we've got probably at the moment about 15 or 16 fringe events.
Yeah. Okay.
But on the Thursday night, it's completely. You may only go.
Okay.
To the
show.
There's nothing else on.
There's nothing. There we go. 20th to the 22nd of March, and that's coming up soon. So make sure that you book your tickets for that, because that is going to be an absolute killer.
It is.
Great. I can't wait, because I got the same vibe as the Grahamstown Festival in the mid '90s for the stoop tasting, and hopefully we can get the same thing going in Kenton.
Yeah, we want to grow it, and by adding the show.
Yeah,
we're just adding a different dimension.
Yeah,
and we'll just keep adding, because we were probably around. We've got to grow the numbers to bring more. So we've got 35 producers this year.
Okay,
and to bring more producers in, we actually
a lot. It's a lot.
Well, let me tell you,
glasses of wine is a lot of wine.
35 times 5, because each one brings on average 5. So let me tell you, that's why you need over 3 days. You've got to taste wine over 3 days. Otherwise,
and you can walk around in Kenton.
You can walk around. There are lots. The restaurants all open. Our beaches. It's incredible. The weather is unbelievable at the moment. People swimming in the morning. There's there's a dilly deli on the beach that people stop and they have coffee from 6:30 in the morning. You can go for a swim, have a breakfast bun. You know, where else?
Philippa must get a granny grommets. There. She's got the granny grommets. I don't. It's put Alfred. There's one of
I think my aunt of 88. I think
she member of the granny grommets.
No. Well, she used to swim every morning.
Oh. Okay.
And she used to body surf and surf with her boogie board. Yeah.
Yes.
So
well, it's the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a group that swim every morning.
This is what Philippa's, she's joined the granny grommets here in
come on, Philippa, you're definitely not that age.
It's 50 over. It's 50 and over. Doesn't have to be 80.
Oh, okay. You're going to bring the average age
down. You don't actually have to be a granny, actually. You just have to be over 50. So 50 is young these days.
It is. Well, every time you think of old age sort of kicks in 10 years' time.
Yeah,
so you never get old.
I know. There's another 10 years we got easy.
I turned 60 this year.
Yeah.
And my 30th wedding anniversary. My brother's 30th wedding anniversary. My sister, younger sister's 50th wedding birthday.
So
and
my oldest, a lot this year. All
this year, and my
sister's
50th school reunion. My older sister. So we've got lots of celebrations.
Lots of celebrations this year.
Yeah.
You're going to be fraught the whole year.
Well, never known. Yeah, I definitely. I'm scared of a party.
No. I see. I'm sure you are. Justn. Okay. Well, I think we must get into the getting to know you questions, which is just a couple of silly questions for the end.
Okay.
And we'll give it a go. Go and stick the music.
Get to know you. Get to know all about you.
A bit of Julie Andrews going on there as well.
I'm a little nervous.
Yeah. You don't have to worry. Okay, the biggest risk that you've ever taken ever?
There's so many. Being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Every project that you start.
Yeah.
But the biggest risk I think that I've ever been part of was the marina in Port Alfred, because everything was put. My dad had to put everything on the line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. So we property developers ourselves.
Yeah. Okay.
But that scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that risk.
He could have lost everything.
Yeah, I farm cattle and I lose a lot. Well, not a lot, but I lose my fair share of cattle. That's risky.
Yeah.
But
because cattle farming is not easy. It's
not easy, especially when it's
the ticks and.
My sons will tell you that I'm a part-time farmer. I'm not a real farmer. So I'm a weekend farmer.
Okay. Yes. Okay. I don't trust you with farming too much.
But I can handle a syringe.
It's proper.
With drugs.
Okay. So the marina, that must have been have been a big worry.
That was.
Okay. Any adventures that you can remember? Anything you could describe as adventure? Anything that you did, or even, I love the stories about the shop, because there must be a million of those.
There were. I mean, you never. Yeah, growing up was an adventure.
Yeah. It
really was. Now, you've got to remember when we were talking earlier, I grew up on a farm with no electricity.
Yeah.
And an outside toilet. I still remember the outside toilet. That was an adventure, just going to the loo.
Yes, I'm sure.
We got an inside flush toilet, and we were the first in the area, and all the neighbours came to look.
The neighbours come to look at your toilet.
Well, it was fancy.
I bet you some neighbours online here at the moment.
And then we didn't have electricity. It was a generator.
Jeez.
So we used to have to take turns to go and sling the old generator to start it. Yeah. And then running water. My dad put otherwise it was a bath with,
Yes.
And and to think where we've come to now, and my dad telling us the story of going down to Kenton on Oxwagon to go on holiday, and that's in living memory. And now where we are.
I know. So like literally living memory on Oxwagon from Salem side.
Well, from halfway to Salem.
Yeah.
The children used to go down to the Oxwagon.
Okay.
And they used to go down the day before and spend the night with the staff in Kenton, Outspan and Tick Lane.
Yeah.
And then Granny and Grandpa
Outspan,
form a bit of a lager. I suppose the kids on the inside. And Granny and Grandpa used to drive down the next day, and then they'd set up camp,
Jeez, unbelievable. No, there's a story I've just remembered now. Tell me about the Volo story, because the Volo was the wreck.
Yes.
Okay. Now, then there were people rescued off the wreck.
Yes.
And there's a big argument as to the Afrikaans people and the English people who rescued who.
Oh.
And who were the ones that actually rescued?
This is now you dangerous ground. Really dangerous ground. Yeah.
What you heard.
No. Stan Butt's grandfather,
yes,
old man Butt, he came down and he rescued the guys on horseback. And with a. So he's the guy.
He's the guy that rescued.
And then the timber was half the load of timber was given to him, if I remember correctly. And then some of it went to Grahamstown, was sold, and part of it was actually in a hostel at Kingswood. Part of the timber.
Okay. Not the one that burned down.
No.
Okay.
In fact, I'm trying to think of the person was that donated that.
Well, maybe they'll know online as well. The person that donated the timber.
Yes.
So they'll tell us in the comments. They can tell
what I will tell you, we owned the Kenton Hotel.
Oh yeah,
Pep's Palace.
Wow.
I don't know if you've ever heard of Pep. It was legendary.
I don't remember Pep's, but I remember the trees. We used to go and dance there in the 80s.
Yes, that was Pep's Palace.
Okay.
That was the disco.
Palace. Yes, the disco.
So my dad and his business partner, Putti Muller, all the estate agents went to some conference and they arrived and they went to go and talk to Pep Fraser.
Yeah.
And they bought the hotel. They bought it from him directly. It caused a bit of a stir because all the estate agents were out of town for the day.
Oh, right.
And they actually bought it for the investment value.
Yeah.
Anyway, Dad then didn't want Mike and I and my sister dies a bit older than us to travel to Port Alfred because everyone would go to the Langdon.
Yeah, okay.
So he said, okay, we're going to start something in Kent.
Langdon Hotel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so he literally started Pep's Palace because
like a club kind of disco.
Yeah, it was a disco. Peter Borum from Hotspot.
Yes, Peter. I know
Peter Borum. He was our DJ.
Fantastic.
For years.
Yeah, I know Duncan Crispin, the guys took over.
They were later.
Yeah. I just saw Rick tonight. Rick Thompson is also part of that group.
And
Sonic Youth.
It grew. They were at Old Year's Eve. There were well over 1,000 people there.
Oh my! I remember dancing on glass
and bales, hay bales.
Yeah,
and then we had to enclose it because everyone complained about the noise.
Of course, the trees.
Yeah, the two trees.
Yeah.
The story is that they came. Stan Butt's father brought the two trees down, or they were tiny little trees that he planted. Yeah, and they are actually they were international maritime marks. So when people drove past, they could see the two trees. They knew exactly where they were.
They were at Kenton.
There are three now, but there were only two. Yeah.
There were,
two Norfolk pines.
Yeah, I remember.
So the Pep's Palace. That's where I learned. I found my liquid legs.
Pep's Palace.
Pep's Palace.
Your dad had a plan. Eh?
Oh, Dad had a plan.
Yeah.
Gee, no, Dad really he did. He
knew exactly what to do.
And
the way that he's kept the family together as well, like you say, this little invisible strings that hold you.
and my greater family. You know, it's just all incredible that we all still tight.
Brilliant.
But Pep's, a lot of the people watching tonight would have been at Pep's Palace.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And the stories now, you can imagine those stories at Pep's Palace. But I won't. This is where I want to draw the line. I was given a lecture by my brother and sister. In fact, as I was driving in, the phone call came through from them. So just remember, don't drop the family.
That way. Don't tell that story. Oh my word! It's having Sherilyn is saying here. I remember the outside toilet in my late aunt's farm in Aterdale. Middle of the night. Oh no!
Well, there was always a potty, so you didn't have to go out
in
the cold.
Oh my
That
Lord.
used to live under the bed.
Oh God, no! Okay, I remember. Were they Kleinhuisie?
Kleinhuisie, yeah. Pep's Palace, that's Haley.
Pep's Palace. There we go. My brother and sister and mates lost their names several times. Absolutely.
We all did.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Well, I mean, Philippa and I were there when we were dating, and we danced there every Algiers Eve from I think 84 to 80.
That was when it was flying.
Absolutely going
unbelievable.
off. Yeah, it was such good fun.
Yeah.
I remember actually dancing on broken glass.
Well, you see, that's why you're so tough today. You can say thanks to Pep's Palace for that. Made you a real man.
Properly. Oh no. Okay, the most uncomfortable place you ever slept.
Probably outside of Pep's Palace.
Yeah.
Going home one night, my dad decided that his son. I used to have an old Escort, blue and white with a white, blue, like baby blue with a white roof, a vinyl roof,
yes,
and a white interior.
I know exactly what that looks like. That's beautiful.
And but he decided that because when I became rag chairman, that I needed an up.
Oh, okay, right.
So he bought me a GTV, an Alpha GTV 2-liter, 2-door.
I hope you wish you had kept that now.
You absolutely right.
Fortune.
And it must have been in that sort of era that and I remember getting into the car and starting it. And I woke up the next morning with my arms on the steering wheel, the door open, the car still running. Don't do this at home.
Yeah.
It comes, very irresponsible. So
the door's closed. Honestly. But those cars are now worth a bloody fortune.
They are. I actually, I collect little cars too.
Oh, dinky cars. Okay.
Yeah. And they've just brought out a series of those Alpha.
Oh, lovely.
Yes, I've got one in each color at the moment.
Nice. Okay. Oh, nice. So you're still doing that. You've got a big collection, haven't you?
About close to 400, I suppose.
Jeez.
Yeah. I went through a read during sort of COVID time.
Okay.
Bridget said.
Yeah, I'm sure she's saying, don't you get the shit out of the house?
No, she said, you've got to find yourself. You've got to just find something to do.
Because you're driving me mad.
So I said, okay. And we were in Cape Town, and I bought my son a dinky toy.
Yeah.
And then I decided to keep it myself because it reminded me of my youth.
Yes.
And that's where it started.
Isn't it amazing how, as a boy, as me too, Scale Electric's cars. Hey, and little Matchbox cars.
Yes, I've got all the cars that my brother and I played with.
Yeah. Corgi, Dinky,
Matchbox.
Hot Wheels.
Yeah,
I think Hot Wheels is only later.
Yeah, it is later. Yeah, and I must say, so they are my older sister, Di.
Yes.
And then, so she's, I think, 65, 66 this year.
Okay.
Michael's 62. Di, I think, 66. Sorry.
Are you the youngest then?
No. Just wait. And then Michael's 62. I was born in 65.
Okay.
And then Lord Lomity Joe was born in 75.
Oh,
so there's 17 years between my two sisters.
Jeez, like unbelievable.
No, it is unbelievable.
She was a real Lord Lomity then.
She was. She stole my limelight.
Totally.
I was the baby for 9 years, and she came along and messed up the whole show.
The whole shebang. Jingoes, man. Jan Buerta, your dad and I finished in Bazaruto.
Yes. Yeah, we had
fished.
We in the marina, they built a 58-foot cat.
Wow.
Called Royal Cat.
Is that what the butt cats are all about?
Yeah, no, this wasn't a butt cat.
Okay.
Don't start this, please. This was the guys in Port Alfred, but the Lee Cats built this boat for us.
The Lee Cats.
And I remember Uncle Stan Butt, who built Butt Cat boats, sitting in the pub one night at the Kenton Hotel on the back of his cigarette box. And he said to me, what speed did they say that boat can get to? And I said, 28 knots, Uncle Stan. He said, never. It won't do 17. And he was right.
It depends what boat you put in the back. I don't know.
No, it was a big boat. And that's the boat that Jan's talking about. It went to Bazaruto for a while.
Wow, at 17 knots.
Yeah.
Just pushed through.
And then it's now it's now, the last I heard it was in Trinidad. I mean, they took it across.
Still going.
Well, so we sold our share in it many years ago.
Okay.
Dad went across to check on the boat. He flew into Miami, and then he picked up his mate, and they flew to Trinidad, and they checked on the boat and flew. And I said, Dad, what's Trinidad like? He said, Alex, but just next to the sea.
But like Alex, just next to the sea. I love it. He says, Rock Boss, you can come visit us in Cape Town. Always a bed and a brew for you, my friend.
Thank you, Michael.
I'll come as well, Michael.
I'll bring Gino along too.
Pop in there, Michael. Sounds like it's quite a liquor place.
No, it is. He lives in Hermanus.
Yeah, right.
I think
I watch the Whales of August.
Yes, they do.
Okay, that's like so amazing that you still got the friends from way back.
Friends are so important.
Oh, very, very.
Yeah.
Okay, your biggest adrenaline rush.
Well, you can see I'm not much of an adrenaline junkie.
You're not an extreme sport person.
No.
You can still sprint now, though.
Well, sprinting isn't the problem, it's stopping. You might get up to speed, but you need about 400 meters to slow down. Momentum's a hell of a thing.
Fair enough.
No, I'm not. I think I used to off-road race with my dad.
Oh.
We had the Settler 500 and the
Settler
500. It was a national race.
Oh, it was actually a race.
It was an off-road race, and it was very serious. I think for about 8 years we raced. No, motorcars.
Motorcars?
Yeah,
like a rally?
But off-road, like in through the pineapple lands.
Shit, pineapple, the pineapples, but...
And I used to race I raced a few years with my dad. And,
Did you do navigation?
Yeah, I was a navigator. Yeah.
No, so you do that thing. Do you do that fast story? 2 bumped over 300 meter left.
No, watch out, Dad.
Dad, left. Dad.
They put out markers for us.
God's sakes, Dad.
So there'd be one red flag on the left, and then 2. When you get to the 2, you turn. Okay, so it was all marked out for us.
Properly marked.
And we rolled once or twice.
Oh shit!
We lost a tire out going through the pineapple lands. And my dad never used to get out the vehicle. He used to just sit there, 4-way, locked in,
waiting for you.
Swear at me until the thing was fixed. Threatened to fire the mechanic and then get to the other side, and the mechanic would come up and say, "Everything all right? Yeah, everything was fine, but don't worry about it." Yeah. I've just had 12 hours of hell.
Tell him about the mechanic.
And it was incredible. I mean, that was a real adrenaline rush.
The Settler 500.
Settler 500.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and I mean, it only went on for like 8 years or 5 or 8 years. I retired.
But that's adrenaline, that.
Yeah, I retired before my father. I couldn't handle it anymore. Sure. It was a bit much for me. Then he did the barber spun, and he did a few others. He used to race NP as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
so very into motorsport.
Well,
what car did you have? Escort as well?
No, it was proper off-road. So we started off in a beach buggy just because that's what we had.
Okay.
And then we moved on to a Nissan Safari buggy.
Okay.
Safari, yeah.
It's like the big, you mean with the forks and the whole thing?
Yeah, the whole kabang. That's the one we rolled.
No, the forks, you say,
the shocks, the big long travel shocks.
Jeez.
And then we ended up with a Sandmaster.
I was going to ask you if it was a Sandmaster. I love those things.
Yeah, they were fun, hey?
It's just basically a
pipe car.
Pipes and a fat engine, eh?
And long travel shocks.
Yeah, huge shocks.
And, used to go, and then sometimes you wouldn't get it right, sometimes you got it right.
Okay.
And there's a lovely story about my dad. There was going through the Riddens farm, Salem.
Yeah.
The camber, the road was all wrong. So my brother-in-law was racing with Dad in the beach buggy. And they come around, and of course the cambers, so it went like this. And
okay. Oh, geez, okay.
And it was just this doof, 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 doof. And Dad says, shouts to Davey. My dad had a hoarse voice.
Yeah.
Shouts to Davey, I think we got a flat. Davey said, no, pull to the right. You're taking the fence out.
That's where Alan Bayer and Brian Mullins got their fence poles from.
Yeah.
Some old stinkwood through the front of the beach. Oh, fantastic. I love it. I remember Stan Butt saying at the bar that hotel his wife enjoyed her drinks
yes.
in the bucky outside.
Yeah, I mean, Uncle Stan was an absolute legend. And in fact, one night, he used to play the bagpipes, but only on occasion.
Okay.
And he came marching through the disco one night with his sons behind him. So that is a very
Were his sons the same age as you guys? Or?
No, they were older. John is well into his 70s.
Okay, wow, okay.
He still lives in Kenton.
Okay. So the boats are still going.
Yeah, they're still going. Building
boats.
That's going incredibly well.
Because of this little seagull race that we did as well. They're building those fast ones.
Yes, they look like those little old timber boats. Yeah.
Yes, they're beautiful.
No, and let's talk about the seagull.
Yeah, yes,
I mean, you missed it this year.
I missed the seagull regatta this year. I had a gig.
What an incredible experience. Yeah. I mean, you've been there.
Amazing.
It's the only excuse to drink gin from 9 in the morning.
You said, well, Glennis says, what about your water ski? We can't do that behind the seagull.
No. I wasn't much of a water skiing person. Yeah. I wasn't really built for speedo. The seagull did incredibly well. And it's been, they raised 1.6 million rand this year in a single day.
Isn't that amazing?
And, to Dale and his family.
Dale, what a legend.
Absolute legend. And, every single cent gets spent in our community. Yeah. I just get goosebumps when it's such a feel-good story.
Yeah. And it's huge. I mean, there's people they are just going crazy.
It's just you see captains of industry rubbing shoulders with mechanics, with
fishermen, whatever, it doesn't matter.
And bankers and you know what? We all got different boats, but you all got that same engine.
Same thing.
Unreliable.
Yeah, unreliable as an hour.
Difficult to start.
Jeez,
smoke everywhere.
Bloody thing cracks all the time.
But an incredible, what an incredible show that they put on. Yeah. And, the people are so generous.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Yeah. And people go there, they can have a good old fashioned, they can just relax, which is incredible.
Yeah, it's true.
And of course, it is a world record for the most number of seagulls post World War II.
Fantastic. Because obviously the seagull was famous for the D-Day
landings.
When they had to send people across the channel.
Yeah.
And they went on these little seagulls and saved so many soldiers.
And they're still going.
They're still going. I've got a 1952. One, I think, or 53.
Well, mine keeps breaking, so I had to borrow one. Lastminute.com.
Yeah.
I go a few days before, and then the impeller. So I phoned mine. Actually, I was so confident. I took the boat down, without a motor.
Yeah.
I bumped into my neighbor, and he said, "Oh, you're doing the race tomorrow?" I said, "Yes." The problem is my motor's not. He says, "I've got a spare one."
Oh, really? There we go.
Anyway, I'm off Admiralty. I'm a landlubber, so I check my fleet of one.
Okay, you check.
Coming past, I'm in charge.
Fleet,
the whole fleet of one.
Fantastic.
And of course, lots of pitches and leads.
Yes, pitches and leads. The brain and the guys.
And that's why.
Here's the ship right over here.
Oh, well.
This is the Volo, we don't know.
Well, it just needs a seagull behind it.
Is it? We'll be all right.
Right about the 29th of December.
Yeah, it's right to the end of December. There is another one coming now in
at Breda.
At Crom.
At Crom.
It's St. Francis. It's coming now in March, I think.
And then there's the one on the Breda.
We're also doing a show there in March too.
Okay. You're getting into the whole seagull thing.
Yeah, properly. Yeah. And of course, like I said, Gary DeBrain involved there with Pitch and Leeds.
Yes.
And I think the Heineken guys also.
The Heineken, the local spa. I mean, the Buco.
Everyone's in.
Everyone. No, it's SA Breweries.
Is it SAB? It's SAB.
Yeah, last year it was Heineken.
Okay, this is SAB. Okay.
No, and once again, just something to do. Keep people entertained. The people that come there, just absolute. And you know what? It can't get any bigger.
No. I think it's about 2,000.
Just about 2,500 people. It can't get any bigger.
Yeah.
You can't really have many more boats.
Yeah.
So it's just what a privilege.
And the band plays from the Sunshine
BJ
Coast.
Ford.
BJ Ford, the proper settlers band.
And they come in and they play, and it's just unbelievable.
It's great fun. I see Sean Paul says,
Sean
says buys an ice cream after losing at Fish River Casino. Yes, Paul. Sean, I remember my aunt Jean Marsdorp, Dr. Marsdorp used to be Peter Marsdorp.
Yes, Peter. Yes.
Philippa's uncle and Auntie Jean, who was my aunt, she used to like a bit of gambling, so she'd get in the bus all the way,
special bus
all the way to Port Alfred to Fish River Sun, and then back again to Kenton.
Feeling a lot lighter now. You only ever heard about the wins.
Yeah, no, only about that. She didn't bring up the losses. You know?
No.
But I'm sure she was losing responsibly. Oh no. Okay, the worst job that you've ever had. Just,
my goodness.
God, you must have had some cuck jobs in your life.
I've had some really cuck jobs. I think, literally, sewage jobs.
Oh, God.
Yeah. No.
It's civil engineering.
Civil
as well.
engineering.
Yeah.
It doesn't really. It doesn't. It's a bit overwhelming.
Yeah, I'm sure.
The worst job. You know what? I've kind of enjoyed. It's been an adventure.
Yeah,
it has.
But in civil engineering, you studied that. Like
no.
Just
taught by my father.
Just taught by your dad.
Yeah, common sense.
Really.
Yeah. Proper. It's just good old Lower Albany common sense.
Yes.
Most of it is.
Yeah.
And I think that you have good jobs and you have bad jobs.
Yeah.
And the bad ones, once you're into something, you've tendered on a thing, and there's a price. When things go badly, they can really go badly.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't want to end on a bad note.
No. Another sort of thing, I was talking about Jean Master. Her brother was Don Bailey.
Uh-huh.
Don was always at the bowls club because he was Cannon Rocks. Don and Stella.
Yeah.
And
I'm playing bowls at the moment, actually.
They only play
Business league
bowls.
every Monday night.
Oh, you do a bit of
I'm
business.
a skip.
Is it?
Yeah.
What is that? Is that the
I'm in charge. Of my team. I'm the skip. We did like
skipper.
Yeah.
Okay.
We did it very badly last night. In fact, our opposition, somebody came and said, Elsewhere, are you taking a carrot? And our opposition skip said, at least it's a healthy carrot. It was a healthy carrot. It was proper. I'm not even going to tell you the score.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Anyway, my team, the River Rats.
Okay, River Rats.
Yes, my wife and Richard and Sarah, the four of us. We did 4 years.
The River Rats.
We're hoping to get better.
Oh, no, it's fine. You just keep practicing.
With the woods.
Yes. With the woods. Okay, let's have a last one. If you could do it all over again, would you do the same part?
I would. It's been exciting.
Yeah.
There's certain choices I couldn't make.
Yeah.
Okay. Certain things that I kind of had to slide into.
Okay.
But it's been an incredible privilege, and it's been, the only way you really appreciate the highs is to go through lows.
Yeah.
You can't go through life on a high.
You've got to have the sickling at some
You've got to sickle, man. Yeah, and listen, in the Lower Albany, we know how to sickle.
Robert, I mean, there must have been times in the business as well. With I don't know about Dulces and Beavers. I mean, were there times when you had to scale up and then a bit of risk?
Listen, go and visit the bank manager.
Really?
You have to give cash flows. That was a bit of a...
Griff Molyneux was back then. The Standard Bank manager.
We've always been with Standard Bank.
Yeah, Bobby Bullock.
And I must, I'll tell you a quick story about it, because Standard Bank, they financed the marina.
Okay.
And the two oaks in charge of the project ended up right at the top of the tree. I'm not going to mention their names, but right at the top of the tree.
Yes.
And my dad used to phone and say, we need another couple of million. And they say, no, Keith, you can't have any more money. And he'd say, well, Swar, come and fetch the keys then.
That's the way to do it. Oh, my word.
Well, anytime you like, come and fetch the keys.
Come and fetch the keys.
It's been a real privilege. It's you surround yourself with good people.
Yeah.
You surround yourself with a lot of love.
Yeah.
You give back. You can never receive if you don't give.
Yeah.
You give back what you can to your community. Yeah. And
it's so important for the youngsters to know that as well, to get that vibe, because I think in the early days it was built into your psyche that your community was everything. That it was
absolutely
support,
yeah. And my kids know. I mean, my nephews and nieces. My daughter Caitlin in Cape Town. Well, in Stellenbosch. She's in Steli. She's watching tonight.
Oh, I saw the photos. Was it the photos?
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of Patrick Grill had his granddaughter that he had a picture with her.
Caitlin's studying in Stellenbosch, and it's a huge honor for her to do that, and to make friends down there. And, far from home. Out of the Eastern Cape.
Very Afrikaans as well. But I didn't speak Afrikaans up this way. Paul Kroch, two legends, thank you. Dulce ice cream for the factory in Beavers. From the factory in Beavers Pies.
Paul, his dad, Uncle Bull, was our insurance.
Okay.
Uncle Bull from Pia.
Paul and Kelly, they were at school with me.
Okay.
He was a VP in my years. Tall Paul. I'm sure he's still Tall Paul.
He's back in PE now.
Oh, lovely. Oh, good to hear, Paul. Lovely, man. And his sister's always been here. Thank you for entertaining us. The great show. Thank you, Brian. You're a legend. Thank you so much. We'll have some of the wine.
Wine. Yes, lots of wine.
See you at the Wine Festival, says the Cry. Army, excellent. Will do. And we'll see you all next week. Next week we have a lady, Lorianne Preston, who is a child. She does children's books. And we're going to be hearing about a new book and a new show that she's put together as well. It's fantastic fun. See you next week.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Relax, sit down. Coming out of PE town. Drink, find a shot. Never mind your liver. Get to Ginos Spot.
Ginos Spot.
Get to Ginos Spot.
Ginos Spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Have a Gino shot.
Ginos Spot.
Get to Ginos Spot.
Ginos Spot.
Get to Ginos Spot.
Ginos Spot.
Have a laugh, have a giggle, and exercise your middle. Get to Ginos Spot.